everyone, this is me, Mani Singh, your faculty for CUET MSW examination. As per our previous class, we have solved our MSW CUET, of course, 2022 question paper and with detailed solution, of course. And here, so of course, we'll be continuing that one because it was too lengthy and your lecture was, of course, it was being too extended a lot. So that is why I'm covering it in form of the another lecture, right? So here, let's just see till which question we have covered, right? And of course, I asked you like the previous one that when you are solving these questions, do make a note of your questions, right, which you are solving. And also at the time when you're evaluating them, please kindly give them your give negative marking also when you are deducting or when you're, of course, when you're calculating your numbers. All right. So here till now we covered this till this question, right? That which variable is not a component of HDI. And we have discussed these things as well. And but initially, when I give you 25 seconds of time to solve a question, right? So here, kindly mark that only, and thereafter, you just calculate your score, right? All right. And please do not forget to give yourself negative marking also if you have marked any answer wrong, right? All right. So here, let's just see this question. So here in this question, how to solve these type of question and how these questions are asked, how to approach these questions. So here you see that given below are two statements. What does the statement one says? It says the Jan Shikshan Sansthan provides vocational training courses to the marginalized for their improvement. Empowerment. I'm really sorry about that. Statement second, what does this says? So this says that the inclusion of SC and STs is emphasized as beneficiary in the Jan Shikshan Sanstha due to their disadvantaged position. So here in the light of these two statements, choose the appropriate one from the options given below. So which one is the right one? So both statement first and second are correct, or both statement 1 and 2 both are incorrect, or statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is incorrect. Statement 1 is incorrect but statement 2 is correct. So here in such type of questions, how do you approach them, right? Here it is good to, of course, eliminate, but at the same time, you also have to see when they give you two statements. So first and first, you just eliminate which one is the right one, okay? And then go for the options, because what students do is they just mix this up and they always make a mistake. I mean, I'm not talking about particularly you, but majority of the students, they end up doing that, okay? So here, always just read the statement carefully, right? And thereafter choose from the option that whether you stand with statement 1. If it says correct, then you have to eliminate the wrong ones. For example, if you say that statement 1 is correct, so your fourth one eliminates in itself, right? And the second one, fourth and second in itself eliminates. Then after you have to see that whether your second is also right, then you have to go for first and third, right? So that is how you solve a question. All right. So here in this question, if you see, so if you all have read of it, that the Jan Shikshan Sansthan, what is this about? And does this provide vocational training courses to the marginalized for their empowerment? And the inclusion of SC/ST is emphasized in this program or this scheme as beneficiaries in the Jan Shikshan Sansthan due to their disadvantaged position. So are these two statements related? So this is how you see a question. Talk about what is a Jan Shikshan Sansthan. So Sansthan is basically it's a place, right? It's a place where vocational training is provided. So basically previously your Jan Shikshan Sansthan was it was also called as your Shramik Vidyapeeth as well. And Shramik Vidyapeeth is it's like a coaching institute or a vocational training institute for the workers, the laborers, right? So this Jan Shikshan Sansthan, which is JSS, it is conceived as an institute for conducting skill upgradation in the areas of program of non-formal, adult, and continuing education. So here, what this Jan Shikshan Sansthan or JSS did it provided academic and technical support to Jila Saksharta Samiti in both urban and rural areas. So basically, the main crux of this theme was to provide vocational training or as a skill development initiative. This was introduced, right, by the union government for the rural areas. So if they ask you next time for whom it was introduced, so it was basically, this was a skill development initiative or basically a vocational training courses that was introduced for the marginalized sections of the society. And what this did basically, so here it not only catered to this particular group of people, or it just not the age group for this was that from the people who belongs to 15, the target group for the Jan Shikshan Sanstha scheme was that the people, those who belong to 15 to 45 years of age, and those who are socially and economically backward and educationally disadvantaged of rural group or rural or urban population. So here the main target included the non-literates, okay, the neo-literates, or the person, those who have at least a rudimentary level of education, that is 70%, or the school dropouts up to class 12, and the graduates as well. So here you see in the age group of 15 to 45 years, this was these people were included, right? And here the people were, of course, people would be they would become skilled, and of course they can get thereafter they can get jobs as well. So basically the mission was this too, and the ministry also, the ministry was Ministry of Skill Development. All right, so the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship was the one responsible for the JSS scheme, right? And I hope it is clear to you that it was basically for providing vocational skills to literate, non-literates, and new literates people, right? All right. So I hope it is clear to you. And the other name for this is Shramik Sansthan as well, right? So this is Shramik Vidyapeeth is also another name for this your JSS scheme, right? All right, great. So here, what do you think after this, after all this understanding, that which can be your correct answer? So here, as per this question, question number 44, what do you think can be your right answer? Is it your both the statements are true, both the statement are false, one is right, second is wrong, or second is right, one is wrong? So here you see, as we have already discussed, that first one is right, of course, that just the Jan Shikshan Sansthan is basically for providing vocational training, right? And also this, as I said, that it catered to the socially and economically backward people. So inclusion of SC/ST was also emphasized as beneficiary due to their disadvantaged position, right? So here it is about that both statement 1 and 2 stands, both of them stands correct. All right. What is the second one? What is this second one talks about? What does this say? So here these two statements are given. First statement says that the real self is one's actual perceptions of characteristics, traits, and ability that form the basis of striving for self-actualization. And this, the ideal self, is the perception of what one should be or what one would like to be. So here, what is an ideal self? It is a perception of what I wish to be, what I want to be known as, right? And what does the second statement says? It says that when the real self and the ideal self are very close or very similar to each other, people feel competent and capable, right? Because see, what you're planning to become, you're actually that, right? Your ideal self and your real self is similar. So here, of course, at this situation, people would feel competent and capable as well. But the mismatch between the real self and the ideal self, it causes anxiety and neurotic behavior, that you are something else, but you are an ideal self has to be something else. So here, and it's such a situation, a person feel anxiety, right? And they feel this neurotic behavior. So here, what do you see? Which one is correct? Either it is the first statement or the second statement, both of them are correct or both of them are incorrect. So here, given your 25 seconds. So if you read the first statement, it says, what is the real self? Real self is basically our actual perception of our characters, like how we are, what we are basically, right? In our real self, what do we strive for? We strive for self-actualization. And what is ideal self? Ideal self, that what we wish to be. A real self is what we are actually. Ideal self is what we want to become. And when the real self and ideal self are similar, of course, you are a good, you are somebody, a competent and capable person. But when there is a mismatch between ideal self and real self, so there is anxiety and neurotic behavior. One example of this is, for example, as in real self, you are somebody, a baddie or someone, right, who do not follow any rules. But an ideal self for you would be that you should be a disciplined person, you should be a good child, right? You should be a disciplined student. But however, it is nothing of that sort, you're doing nothing of that sort. So your real self is difficult, or sorry, is different from your ideal self. So that causes the mismatch, and that would of course cause neurotic behavior and anxiety and all sort of stuff. But here, if you see, if you consider yourself, if you're a decent person, if you are a disciplined and calm and poised person, and your ideal self also talks about that, and your ideal self is also that you are yet you wish to become a calm and poised person. Once your ideal and real self, of course, they matches with each other, then of course you have become a capable and competent person. So here, as per this analysis, are both statement and one and two stands correct, right? All right, great. So here, let's just come to the other one, which is your 46th question. What does this talks about? So here, social values and cultural standards that indicate the general good seem desirable for organized social life, right? Statement 2, the process of socialization may not aim to inculcate social values in individual personality. So here, either both of them are correct, both of them are wrong. First is correct, second is wrong, second is correct, first is wrong. Given 25 seconds, kindly make out which one is right and which one is wrong. So your 25 seconds are over. So you see, what are social values? Basically, these are the cultural standard which indicates the general good design for, which is the general good, which is seem appropriate or to seem desirable for your organized social life, right? This, I hope it is quite understood what social values are basically. But the second statement, do you think that does makes any sense? Because the main aim of socialization is that you inculcate social values in your individual personality. What is socialization? Basically, you learn things by being with others, right? So here, if I live in a Christian society or if I live in an Hindu society, so I have inculcated those social values in my personality as an individual, right? So here, these are the things, right? These are things should be, these are the concept clarity that you should have while understanding these things, right? So here, which one stands correct and which one stands wrong? So here, you see that both in this, your statement 1 stands to be correct, but your statement 2 is incorrect, right? So answer 3rd. Moving ahead, right? So here in your 47th question, given there are two statements, first one is that the primary characteristics of a capitalist economic system is the belief in private and entrepreneurs, right? So an enterprise and the virtues of the market economy. Great. A pure capitalist system believes in the maximum government interference over the economic system. All right. Second statement. Socialist economic system believes in centralized planning where all the important decisions regarding production, investment, resource allocation, determination of prices, exports, imports are taken by a centralized planning authority and control regulated by the government. So here, which one you see is correct and which one you see as incorrect. So given your 25 seconds, here you see if your first one in your this 47th question, if you see, so what does this talks about? It says that the primary characteristics of a capitalist economic system is the belief in the private enterprise, right? All right. And the virtues of the market economy, till this, it sounds fine. But in a pure capitalist system, it believes in the maximum of government interference over the economic system. No, not the case. Because where there would be pure capitalist system, they would demand less and less of government interference in their economic system, right? They would like to be played just by the private players only. And here in the statement 2, if you see, so what does this says? It says this your yes. So here in your statement 2, if you see, so here just first statement you have marked it, right? You have marked it for yourself that with the primary characters of a capitalist economy is what? That basically they would want the belief is that it should be run by private enterprise, virtues of market economy are there. In a pure capitalist system, maximum of government interference over the economic system, right? The government basically rules it. But thereafter, in your second statement, if you see, so the socialist economic system believes in centralized planning, where all the important decisions taken by the center only, the government only, regulated by the government only. However, this is not the case in the second, whereas in the socialist economic system, this does not happen. Here, decisions are taken at all the levels. Decision making is decentralized, right? Decision-making power is given, of course, given in the hands of the people as well. And it is not just solely regulated by the government. Or here, the power is not just centralized at one extent. So basically, your second statement stands really wrong, right? Yes. So coming back to this, you have to understand while if they ask you in your examination about your capitalist system and socialist system or socialistic system of economy, right? So this you have to understand that both capitalism and socialism, they are quite very different, right? So you have to see the basic difference that capitalism is basically it is based on the individual initiative, right? And favors market mechanism, right? And over government intervention. So basically, in your pure capitalist economic system, they do not like government intervention, right? They do not want government to hold things for them or government to decide for them. So here you see that basically it is based on individual initiative and it favors market economy. But whereas on the other hand, you see socialism, it is based on government planning and limitations on private control of resources, right? So here, that is what it does is there is limitation on private control of resources, right? So I hope this is quite clear to you that in a capitalist economy, production is determined by what? Production is determined by free market forces such as supply and demand, right? And likewise, and in your communist economy, the communist economy, here your government determines which goods and services get produced and how much it is available at what point of time, right? So that is the thing basically. So I hope it is clear to you that the capitalist economies use a free market that is not controlled by the government, right? Capitalist economy. So you write it somewhere that the capitalist economies, they use a free market. They use a free market based on individual initiatives, right? And they do not want to be controlled by the government. There is the role of private players to let private businessmen and people determine the value of the products. So basically, capitalist economy is more based on that. However, if you see the socialist countries or the socialist economic system, what they do is, please write it for socialist one. So here you see the socialist countries, what they do is they use a planned economy in which the government controls everything. So here you see if your second statement fills up everything of that sort. That here it says that the socialist countries use a planned economy in which the government controls the production and distribution of necessary goods and services, right? So I hope it is clear to you. And with this, you will mark the fourth one, right? So all those students, those who have marked the fourth one, they are right, because capitalism is a market-driven economy. The state does not intervene. The state is your government. The government does not intervene in your capitalist one. Capitalist 3 points you write. It's a market-driven economy. Private players, right? Private players and businessmen, and no state intervention or government intervention, right? So basically, the state does not intervene in this economy and leave it everything up to the market forces to shape the society and life, right? Whereas in this socialism one, you see the second statement, socialism is characterized by state ownership of business. But here, the state takes controls of everything, all the ownership of business and services, right? So your central planning is used to attempt to make society more equitable. It is everything is in the hands of the government only, right? It's all controlled and regulated by the government. So I hope it is quite clear to you. I'm really sorry for the glitch initially, but now I hope it is clear to you. So here you understand that your fourth one is right. Statement one is totally incorrect because they do not like government interference, right? And that statement is saying that they believe in maximum of government interference, right? And your second statement is true. All right. Moving ahead. So what political parties play an important role in democracy? Second statement, parties play a decisive role in making laws for the country. So here, which one you think is right? Here you see in your both of these, I hope with these 25 seconds you are able to take the right one. Is the first statement correct? Second is right, both of them are correct, or both of them are wrong. So here, in this, if you see, do you think it is right that the political parties play an important role in democracy? Do they? Yes, they do. Political parties play a decisive role in making laws for the country? Yes. So here, as per this, your A1, which is your both statement 1 and 2 stands correct over here, right? All right. With this, let's just move forward. Yes. So here there are two statements. So the first one says, first one is an assertion, second one is a reason. Kindly attempt these questions very carefully. There is no particular trick for answering such question, but logic is the thing that you have to, of course, imply over there. I mean, implement over here. So you see, assertion is basically here they say that this is the thing, right? This is how they are trying to make a statement and the reason that they are giving, right? So here they are saying, why are we making this assertion? And thereafter, they are saying the reason why that we are giving for this. So there are two statements, assertion and reason. So you see, first one, what does this say? This says that the legislative measures alone cannot reduce the incidence of crime. And the second one, the reason that they are giving for it is that the effective implementation of the legislation does not require social support. So here, do you think which one is correct? Either both of them are correct, both of them are wrong, both of these statements stands wrong, or here you see first one to be right and the second one to be wrong. Or what do you see? that A is the correct explanation of R. This assertion is the correct explanation of R, or R is not the correct explanation of A. So what do you think over here? So here in this one, if you see that what they say is that your this legislative measures alone cannot reduce the incidence of crime. They are saying this, right? And thereafter, they are saying that the reason that they are giving is the effective implementation of the legislation does not require social support. So do you think it is right? So here, both the statements A and R stands to be correct, but at the same time, if we see, R does not stand to be the correct explanation of A. How? Because you see, legislative measures, they alone cannot reduce the incidence of crime. This you understand, right? And the effective implementation of the legislation does not require social support as in, because of course, this legislation has already been implemented, and it does not see that whether this thing would require social support or not. That thing has already been implemented. That legislation has already been implemented. So it does not basically relies on the social support of the people. So here, but if you see, so the R1, the reason does not stand to be the correct explanation for this. So this won't stand right over here, right? All right, great. With this, let's just move to the other one. So there are two statements. First one says that there is a gap between social policy statement and the development program. Second one says that the reason is lack of political will and commitment in the formulation and implementation of program. So here, what do you think in these above statements? Choose the most appropriate answer. Both of them are correct, or R is the correct explanation of A. Both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. And here A is correct, but R is not correct. A is not correct, R is correct. So what do you think? On this 50th question, let us give you 25 seconds. So if we see the first statement, if you see whether it is right or not, the way how to approach this question is first to see whether the first statement is right or wrong. So here the first statement that says that there is a gap between social policy statement and the development programs. Is that correct? Right. This is correct. That there is a difference. That there exists a huge difference between the social policy statement and the development program that exists. Second one, what does it say? That the reason is a lack of political will and commitment in the formulation of implementation program. Definitely, that is also right. That it all depends on the political will only, and if they do not, it is because of them that there is problems with the implementation and formulation of these programs. So right, but you see here both the statements are correct, but the R is not the correct explanation of A. You do understand this, right? That you cannot explain this to be the only reason that there is a gap between social policy statement and development programs due to the lack of political will and commitment in the formulation and implementation of program, right? So here, your first one, your A1 is right. So here the answer would be this. Now the first one and the second one. So here the answer would be your A1. Kindly please mark your A1 to be your right answer. That there is a gap between social policy and development programs due to the lack of political will. All right. Coming to this one. So the social and cultural changes are so closely interwoven that the cultural change involves social change. Right? Right. What does this say? That the technology not only influences our social relationship, but also influences the direction and character of our cultural change. That this stands true? Yes, this stands to be true, because if you see that our both social and cultural changes are both influenced by, and both are influenced by technology, right? And our social influence, of course, they both change the character of our cultural change as well, right? Because both of them are closely interwoven. So here you see both A and R stands to be true, and R is also the correct explanation of A, right? Great. All right, let's just move forward here. Yes, who is the one who won the Nobel Prize for winning microfinance organization Grameen Bank and is known with the work of. So here, who introduced this Grameen Bank concept of Grameen Bank? Is it Muhammad Yunus, Kailash Satyarthi, Amartya Sen, or Abhijit Banerjee? So here your answer is Muhammad Yunus. So Muhammad Yunus was a Bangladeshi, right? He is the one who won this Nobel Prize for microfinance organization, basically your Grameen Bank. So your conception of Grameen Bank has been introduced by his idea and his work. So Muhammad Yunus was the one who needs to be credited with this. Right? Kailash Satyarthi is associated with the rescuing children with those who are stuck in human trafficking. Right? Basically, he has been working for children against child labor and everything. Amartya Sen is the one who had given this, who was of course an economist, right? But who did not work on microfinance, right? And his famous work is Development as Freedom. And here you have Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo, their husband and wife, right? So both of them are Nobel Prize winner for their economic piece of work. So here, who is the winner of this? Here, the winner of this Nobel Prize was Mohammed Yunus, and he introduced the concept of Grameen Bank.